What's up guys, Chad here with Tech in the Wild. In my last video, we tested out DJI's sample AI detection model on the Manifold 3. Today, I'm taking things to the next level and building my own custom app designed to find my dog Fenton if he ever ran off. I'm calling it Fenton Finder. We have a model that needs trained, so let's get into it. I love the idea of making something that helps you out specific to your needs. For mine, it's fairly simple. I want the app to recognize Fenton only, and to step it up from our last test, I want it to recognize him at a decent height from the live camera feed and draw a detection box around him inside Pilot 2. I'm gonna walk through the training process, how I labeled the images, the different model versions I tested, and then I'll show the final version running on the drone in a live test. And just like last time, if you want to walk through to do this yourself, go down to the description below and find the link to download the walkthrough document. And if you haven't already subscribed, doing so now would be so much appreciated. It means a lot to me and helps me to continue creating these videos and these walkthroughs. Before I could train anything, I needed images of Fenton from all distances and angles. I started off close, like with normal phone photos, but I realized I needed footage of him from the drone's point of view. A dog from ground level looks completely different than a dog from 40, 60, or even 100 feet in the air. From the drone, Fenton becomes a small shape moving across the grass, asphalt, rocks, shadows, and other background clutter. So I collected different videos and frames of him around my property from different distances. Even ones of him doing his business. I also included non-Fenton images. The model needs examples of what not to detect, like people, curbs, rocks, grass, and other random background objects. For the training, we don't just want to get the highest number of frames, we want to try to get a useful variety as well. Once I had my Fenton frames selected, I uploaded them into CVAT. CVAT is a mostly free annotation tool. Basically, it lets you take a folder of images and manually mark the object you want the AI model to learn. In this case, I went frame by frame and drew a bounding box around Fenton. That box tells the training software, this is the object I want you to recognize. Everything outside the box is background. I kept the boxes tied around Fenton only. I avoided including people, shadows, and things like extra grass around him. If we're sloppy with the labels, it could teach the wrong thing to the model. Quick note, if you want to stay with the free CVAT version, it only allows one task at a time. So all you have to do is delete your previous task before uploading the next training batch if you have more. Just make sure you export the previous one before you delete it. After the labeling was complete, I exported the task in YOLO format. That gave me the image labels the training software needed for the next model version. For the non-Fenton frames, it's a lot easier. I just add them to the training model without CVAT and without any labels. Now we'll jump into the computer training. I did all of this from my Mac terminal, but the same basic workflow can be done on Windows using PowerShell or Command Prompt as long as Python, Ultralytics, and the needed packages are installed. The commands may look a little different depending on paths and GPU settings, but the training process is the same. This first version was just the basic custom model. I trained YOLO on the labeled images of Fenton we exported from CVAT and then tested it on video outside of the drone. This is where the blue tracking line videos start. At this stage, I was mainly checking whether the model could recognize Fenton at all. It worked in some easy shots, but it missed him a lot and confidence was not strong enough for a real drone test. For the second version, I added more Fenton examples and cleaned up the dataset. The goal was to give the model more angles and more examples where Fenton was not just large and obvious in the frame. This improved the blue line test results, but it still struggled when Fenton was smaller, farther away, or against busier backgrounds. Version 3 was where I started adding harder training examples. Instead of only training on easy shots, I added more frames where Fenton was smaller, farther from the camera, or closer to backgrounds that could confuse the model. I also kept adding non-Fenton images so they taught the model not to detect rocks, grass, pavement, people, or other random objects as Fenton. This version was better, but it still lacked consistency in certain environments. Version 4 was finally feeling like I made it. Just like before, I added training data from my previous untrained confirmation video, but the bigger improvement was how the app used the model. Instead of only checking one simple view of the camera image, the app looked at the full frame, but then also checked multiple overlapping sections of the image, much like we did in the previous video with the sample app. That helped because Fenton could be small or off to the side, and a full frame only approach could miss him. I also added a generic dog verification step, so the custom model was saying, I think this is Fenton, and the generic detector helped confirm that the object was at least dog-like before the app trusted it. That helped shadows or me in a dark shirt not be mistaken for him. This version also used tracking logic, so the box didn't disappear immediately if the model missed him for a frame or two. Things like sudden camera jerks or big movements. That combination of better Fenton training, tile detection, dog verification, and tracking made this version feel like it was ready for prime time. Once the model was trained to my liking, I couldn't just copy the normal training file straight onto the Manifold and run it. The training output starts as a PyTorch model, which is great for training and testing on the computer, but it's not the fastest format for running live on the drone. So I exported the model to ONNX or ONNX, then converted it into a TensorRT engine on the Manifold 3. TensorRT is NVIDIA's optimized runtime format, so it takes the trained model and turns it into something much faster and more efficient for the Manifold's GPU. After that, I installed the app on the Manifold, copied the TensorRT engine into its app folder, and the app used that optimized model to run detection live from the drone's camera feed. For this first live test, you can see the app installed on the Manifold 3 and is showing boxes in Pilot 2. This was the first big proof that the whole pipeline worked. Okay, we got the new app installed. We did a lot of testing on the computer, but let's see how it does on the actual drone. So you can see I've got my Fenton Finder there. I'll start that up. We've got Fenton right over here. My model was trained mostly higher up because when I'm scanning around, I'm gonna be looking at a higher elevation, but we'll test about 20 feet, 60 feet, 80 feet, see if we can even go to 100, but let's see how it does. So far, so good. Let's get up a little higher. That's great. It's seeing him through the tree. Let's get above the tree and get a different angle. See, my drop down just has Fenton there. I don't know, I'm at 60 feet right now and that seems high enough to scan the neighborhood and it's still got him locked on. I'm gonna try rotating and seeing if I can lose him a little bit. See, now that it's lost him, well, there it goes. And sure enough, he's over here. You can see it's catching me now, and that's fair. We're at 110 feet. Let's see if I get a little closer, if it'll realize that's not him. Well, that's pretty great for a first test. I'm pretty happy. I mean, we had him at over 100 feet. Lost him a little when it saw me. I've got the black shirt on that far away. I can understand why it's thinking it's him, but we can always do version 2, make some tweaks and see if we get any better. But we'll get the drone down and call this test a success. Probably shouldn't have done it in the grass. Okay, so my daughter's gonna take Fenton just somewhere random, at least around here. I mean, usually he either runs off that way or that way, so it's gonna be somewhere in that general area. That's where I would usually look first. I'm trying not to look. I can kind of see them walking over there in the background. I'm just going to do this quick intro and then keep my eyes off of them, because I truly want to see if I can just fly around over here and see them. So once she gets to where she thinks is a good hiding spot, and it's going to be on the road, I'm not going to bother my neighbors with them walking him through their yard. So it's not a perfect test, but once she gets where she wants to be, she'll text me, and then we'll take off and see how it does. I was hoping we were ready for the final test. Unfortunately, when I tested it in the cul-de-sac where I would likely find him, the model struggled badly. Fenton was in the shot, and he was separated from my daughter and her boyfriend, but the model still lost him most of the time. It also picked up some false detections around my daughter and a few other background objects. That told me the model still needed better training data from this specific type of environment. Since I forgot to record drone video while I was running this test flight, I went up again and I recorded in that area so we could add it to the training model. I pulled out a set of about 150 useful 4K frames, 102 with Fenton and 50 without. Labeled the Fenton frames in CVAT, exported them, then loaded both sets into the training model to fine-tune one last time. At this point, the nice thing about additional training is it isn't a full restart with the app. Using the version 4 model progress I already had, I simply retrained it, adding the new frames from the area where it struggled. Version 5, as expected, was clearly better. It found Fenton in more frames and had stronger confidence. I also tested it against non-Fenton images just to make sure it was suddenly not detecting random background objects again. So, with a passed test, I exported version 5, converted it to TensorRT, then quickly replaced the model inside the already stable Manifold app. And finally, it was time for the final live test. All right, I'm going to start the Fenton Finder. She's going to let me know when she's in place. So we'll let this get going. Okay, I got my subject type there and it's just Fenton, so we'll just wait for her to let us know when it's time to go. All right, just got the text. Let's go see if we can find them. I'm going to start just above the tree line, so I'll be about 60 feet. So this is pretty easy. I can already see him. We're pretty far away. Let's see if it'll pick him up. Here we go, got him. I'm going to try to get him in the frame here. Pretty touchy controls, so I'm going to shut the Fenton Finder off and see if I can hand it off to the smart track. It's probably going to pick up my daughter rather than him. Yeah, it's got her. I think if it was just him, it'd be a little bit better, but I like that smart track. It's zooming in, keeping them in sight. I have an idea of where they're at. So it wasn't perfect. I kind of wish it would have picked them up a little bit more. I could do a lot more training. I think we're around 800 right now, but we got this and it's good enough. I mean, it's an easy test for me, but I just wanted to prove that we could create our own app, teach it a specific dog. I think we accomplished it. I'm pretty happy. All right, we'll get them back. I can tell she's ready to go back. She's watching the drone, so I'll text her and let her know. So, the final result worked, but it also showed me the real challenge with custom AI detection. The hard part is not just getting the model onto the Manifold, it's also building a training dataset that matches the real world. My final frame count was roughly 915 total training images, including about 715 labeled Fenton examples and about 200 non-Fenton background images. For a more reliable real-world detector, I'd probably want closer to 15 to 2,500 carefully selected images total. Of course, again, with a strong mix of Fenton and non-Fenton images, both from different altitudes, seasons, lighting, and backgrounds. I'll just plan to continue and collect those as I go to make the model stronger. A lesson learned from this experience: next time I would focus on changing my environment up and not just getting images close to my house, unless that's the area I wanted to focus on. And if you decide to do your own project, it doesn't have to be just one specific object like Fenton. For example, if you wanted to do all dogs in general. Just mix your labeled photos with different breeds, colors, sizes, etc. And expect to take a lot more photos to really hone in on helping the model learn accurately. For this project, being my first custom app, I'm pretty happy with the results. What does the next version look like? At this point, I can't help but ask myself, can we push this even farther? Right now, the app is mainly a detection layer. It finds Fenton and draws a box. Simple. So next, I'd like to add some more automation. The option to fly a predefined route, a clear Fenton Found status, a confidence display, and a false detection control to keep things moving, or the ability to pause the flight if I think I notice him before the AI does. The even bigger goal would be handing the detection over to DJI SmartTrack. The custom model would find Fenton first, then SmartTrack could zoom in and track him more smoothly. And if SmartTrack loses him, maybe the custom model could help reacquire him. Who knows? But stay tuned to see what else we can accomplish. Either way, this was fun, frustrating, interesting, amazing, annoying. It was a roller coaster, but it was so worth it. It was fun to start around the house and do something small, but I'd also like to get some ideas for industrial apps going. So if this sparks some ideas in your head, I'd love to hear them. This is a huge frontier that I plan to expose and continue to venture through. So leave your app ideas in the comments below, and we'll see if we can figure them out. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. If you like this video, hit that like button and click subscribe. Click the bell icon so you can be notified every Sunday when we release new videos. And as always, thanks for watching.